So, hey everybody, I'm going to be unboxing my copy of Torment Tides of Numenera today. It's one of the signed copies, which is why it came out quite late, or rather it came to me quite late. Normally, I don't do videos like this, but because there's been some controversy with damage to the products sent out by Techland, I thought I might just do this with a virgin delivery box, just to see what the situation is, and maybe, hopefully, dispel any doubts that there's any problems with the product. Or not, as the case may be. So, let's get into it. This box, this quite large and heavy box, arrived today. As you can see, or hopefully can see, I'm not sure whether you can read that. Well, you probably can't read that now, can you? So I didn't prepare this, as you can tell. I haven't blacked out my name and contact details. But you might be able to see that that is the Techland label on that. So let's cut this guy open and see what we can see. So the box seems to be taped up fine, which is nice. Good for transport. There was no issues with customs because this was sent to me from Poland. I am in Germany, and some of the advantages of that EU placement are quite clear here. So, sealed box, opening it out, and as you can see here, the box has been filled mostly with paper to protect the contents. If we remove that, we can have here one of the two boxes. I'm going to put this on one side for now. CE box signed book. And one t-shirt. Looks to be alright. I'll be opening it up and showing it to you in a minute. A pocket book. And another pocket book. So, that appears to be somewhat satisfactory. As I was moving this box around, I did not notice anything shifting within or anything, so that much seems to have worked out fine. Now, let's look first at this pocket book. Okay, my webcam is a piece of shit, and it's really old. So I'm really sorry that I can't show you guys many details. But let me get my scissors and maybe we can take a look at what's inside here. So, alright. So what we have here is Palimpsest by Monty Cook. That looks to be a set of several novellas packed together. If we open these up, then we can see Palimpsest, as you just saw, which is, I believe, I can't remember exactly what the word means. It has something to do with scrolls and the keeping of records. I think it's a type of scroll, some type of medium anyway. We have here the Last Days of Archipelagia by Tony Evans. So that's two. We have Gate to the Abyss by Adam Heine. We have The 4 Lessons of the Great Chila by Merle Lafferty. Red Hand by Nathan Locke. And For the Common Good, which is probably the most offensively, in the sense of direct titles, of these title novellas by Ray Valise. I hope I'm pronouncing that one correctly. So we have here a total of 6 novellas. So far so good. Those look fine. They don't appear to be damaged in any way. The corners seem okay. They were packed in plastic. There's some really slight damage that you might see here. But it's the kind of thing I would also expect on a mint book in a bookstore. So I'm not too fussed about it. The rest of these look to be pristine and in mint condition. Almost. Again, this is something you might not actually be able to see on the camera, but if you look at the bottom corner here, then there is a fold. Minor fold. It's really minor damage. It's not something I'm particularly fussed about. So, unboxing part 2. Again, Ref SI Pocketbook. I have no idea what this is going to be. The novellas I was expecting. But let's see what they have in store for me here. Oh look, another set of novellas. Isn't that nice? I'll be very honest, I don't exactly know all the details of what I'd ordered and what rewards I was promised, so the fact that I'm getting a second set of these surprises me. But hey, you know, I'm not complaining. So, next we have the Tech Tour, whatever that may be. This one's not sealed with tape, but it is one of those stuck packages, so it's still fairly secure. Now, as you can see, inside the folding box there is another layer of cardboard protecting this box in here, which is the Torment Tides of Numenera box. Very understated. Not much to say about this one. This looks to be an extra copy, a physical copy of the game. And I say extra because clearly that was not the signed collector's edition. Before we get to that one, let me show you this t-shirt. I'm going to open this one up. This is a simple plastic sleeve, typical t-shirt sending. Typical t-shirt packaging. And what we have here is a Fruit of the Loom black t-shirt with this motif on the front. And we have the Torment Tides of Numenera on the back. Now I'll be honest with you, even the camera quality is crap, but I can't actually tell at first glance what this is supposed to be. I'm assuming it's the Sorrow, based upon that centrality of that particular figure in the game. But cloth feels thinnish. Not a hugely high quality t-shirt, but it's more supposed to be a little souvenir. So that's fine. Right, and now we come to the Ref CE signed book. This apparently is what took so long to get here, because most of the other stuff had already been shipped out some time ago, which is why this video is going to be so late to the punch. The signatures apparently took a long time to get in because you've got people signing all over the world, which means it has to be sent to all of these people. So this is packed fairly securely. It's quite a bit bigger than the other box, which which means it'll take up more space. But if you're buying physical collector's editions, what did you expect? So again, we have just the really understated, simple sort of title on the front. We have the same, oh geez, this is really bad. We have the red and blue title symbol on the back. Why red and blue, I'm not exactly sure. The other titles are there as well, but they're far smaller and less pronounced. And what we have here are the signatures. So a lot of wrist work from people involved in the game. Here we have, for example, Colin oh geez, that's reflecting really badly. Here we have Colin McComb, George Seats. Can't read all of these off the top of my head, but you know, that's fine. So this seems fine for now. Now I can feel, as I move this around, and if you listen closely, I can feel something shifting in there, which has been criticized by several people receiving these collector's editions. So we are going to open this up and just take a look to see whether what's inside is in a good shape or not. Now again, I'm pretty lucky because shipping from Poland was not such a huge distance to Germany, and the chances of stuff being hugely thrown around are commensurately lessened. So what you can see here is these signatures, Chris Keenan there you can see, are on a sleeve that I can actually remove if I want to open it up. Now I'm going to do that just for you guys. I wouldn't normally open this, but I'm going to do it right now. So that comes off nicely. And then we have the box. Now, if you're interested in this kind of thing, you've probably already seen unboxing here. This appears to be held with magnets, which is fairly decent design. Opens straight up. And what we have inside is this foil wrapped package, which contains, hopefully, within this a little bit too large box, at least for the contents, all that should be in there. So, what do we find in that box? So first thing is we have the soundtrack. This does not look like it has suffered any significant damage, which is nice because this is a paper CD box and it is fairly vulnerable to movements of any kind. Then we have here what looks to be the actual CD case, which again is quite nice and understated. It looks like a manual almost, except of course it's far too thin to be a role-playing games manual. And inside there is a piece of paper with the game code and the DLC code, and an installer DVD, sorry, living in the past there, which has, other people have already mentioned, I believe does not actually contain a full standalone installer for the game, but rather requires you to use Steam. Now I personally don't particularly care about that because I got this game on Steam anyway, but I certainly understand if people are upset about that because it does demand you use a specific DRM software. I'm not too sure about the technicalities of how the DRM works there, but you know, be that as it may. We also have here the Torment Tides of Numenera Traveler's Guide. Let me show you that a little more closely. Here you go. So that is the cold calculating jack on there. And it's a fairly thin little book. It's not bad on the inside. It's not badly designed. It's very simple, very low key. So this is the manual to the game, which is surprisingly thin, but then it is a fairly rules light system in the game for those of you who've played it. There's also a minor glossary in here, which talks about some of the slang, which I didn't actually notice much of in the game, unfortunately. and some of the things like abicos and stuff that you'll encounter in the game, which you may or may not know. Now apparently I added on an extra traveler's guide to my collector's edition, which is why I have 2 in here. So there you go. Stuff that you forget after a couple of years of them. And here we have the art book. The Art of Torment, Tides of Numenera. So in here is concept art. Including some sort of, I'm going to say minor commentary. I know you can't read it because the resolution's too crap. But, you know, here basically what this is a map in the bloom. I think this is the gullet area, which kind of points out some of the points of interest. So this is a hardback book, as opposed to the paperback Traveler's Guide, which is thin and a little flimsy, but seems to be printed on quite decent quality paper. And this hardback book is, you know, it's small. It's not particularly thick. There's a lot of character portraits in here. Well, not portraits, a character model art in here and so on, which fills up quite a lot of space. So I imagine they might have been able to fit more artwork in here. But what is in here is quite nice. It really does look quite nice. It's impossible for me to show you over my crappy old webcam, unfortunately. So then we have here, looks like I also got 2 maps. No, I got, I actually got 1 individually packed cloth map, and this looks to be another 4. Because for some reason I thought I might be passing these on to others. Oh no, hang on, no, these are 2 different things. One of them is simply larger. Alright, so let's open these up and take a look. Now according to the forums, these cloth maps can be washed. They're not cloth in the traditional sense, they are a machine, sort of artificial fabric, which one can feel, but I think they look quite nice. This is the small one right here. So you can see there's some various points of interest marked out there with names. Unfortunately, you don't actually visit many of these places in the game, but the colors are quite nice and deep. You'll have to take my word for that. And it does feel. I mean, it's clear that it's not like, you know, linen or anything, but it feels pretty nice. It's got, you know, not stuff I'd want to wear, but it feels good on the skin. It doesn't feel like a tacky plastic mat. Okay, what else can we put on here? We've got the larger version of the cloth map, whoops, which I managed to open up and let fall. And this is definitely, this is definitely significantly bigger. So you can see I could probably wear this as some kind of shawl if I wanted to. A very tormenty shawl. It's made of the same stuff as the map you just saw, and it shows the same area in pretty much the same colors. It is just a larger print, which, as far as I'm capable of telling from looking at it like this, seems to look quite nice. I'm not seeing... Yeah, it's a little pixelated if you look close up, but it makes a good impression from the kind of distance you would be viewing a map of this size if you were to hang it up, for example. So basically, I've got to say, there's been a lot of, you know, issues with the collector's edition, and a lot of people have been upset about what they got and the damage that they may have, that their things have suffered and so on. And I sympathize with everybody who actually had damaged goods coming into them, and I do hope you get that addressed by Techland, because it appears to be their fault. I've got to say, this was pretty much what I was expecting. The Kickstarter Collector's Edition was not a huge amount of stuff. I mean, there's no, I don't know, Batarang in here, like with the Arkham Knight stuff, or any of that kind of thing. But what I've shown you, I feel like was pretty good, and to add on to that, I did get my statue of not the last cast-off, for those of you who've played the game. This is not the last cast-off, but I'm not going to go any further than that. With the detachable mask, which I actually have had some trouble getting to stay on. And the glaive, which you can, in theory, place in their hand ready to strike, or wherever so else you may please. So, for me, I feel like this was a decent collector's edition, not too much trash that takes up space that you don't want to necessarily sacrifice for that kind of thing, and no damage to what was inside. Signatures in a very handy sort of sleeve thing that you can take off the box if you want to. So, for any of you still waiting for your signed editions, maybe I can alleviate some of your fears. I hope that wasn't too boring for you, especially with the bad camera. Really sorry about that. But if I made more YouTube videos, then I would get a new one. As it is, hope it helped anyway. Have a good one.